Mark, adjust your hat.
Ladies and gentlemen, fans, fight fans worldwide, you've tuned into the number one undisputed boxing podcast today. This is the Boxing Breakdown. Now, your heavy-handed, hard-hitting host, Mark Roxy.
Yes, what's up, and welcome to another edition of the Boxing Breakdown. I'm your host, Mark Roxy, and I am here with my partner in crime and always outstanding gentleman, Mr. Harold Hunt. What's up, Harold?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good, brother. I'm really, really good. I'm excited to be on this podcast. It's been a crazy summer. I mean, there has been so much going on this summer, and I'm really, really happy to settle into this autumn weather. It was kind of, there was a nice little breeze today, and
Not in Atlanta. 90-something degrees, 98, 99. There ain't no fall here. Believe that.
All right. Well, you got to come up here, and then I'll sing a song like "Ain't No Sunshine When She's Gone." Right? You got to. Up here is where you want to be. You know?
Obviously so.
Yeah, up north, it's always it's always a little cooler than it is down south. So, but anyway, folks, thank you for tuning in to the Boxing Breakdown. Wherever you are listening to us, we want to welcome you to the broadcast. We want to remind you that you can also find us on all the other platforms, and you're always welcome to join us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and everywhere you get your podcasts. So that way, you're always knowing what's going on. You're following us. We're following you. And we're in conversation about boxing, which is what we love. That's why you're here today on the broadcast, listening wherever you are going. So thank you for being with us. And we're going to get into some interesting discussion today.
Yes,
yeah, lots of boxing stuff. Everything is boxing, right? So today we are going to break down Terence Bud Crawford news. We got some news. Harold's going to spill the beans today on some interesting news, and then we're going to do a little preview on the Canelo versus Charlo matchup and how that thing is going to play out. Time will tell, but we are definitely going to get into that a little bit and talk about style matchup and what you guys can expect. And then we're also going to talk a little bit of breaking news on Tank Davis and Alicia Baumgardner. There's some interesting stuff happening in both of those camps. And then we're going to round out the program with a little conversation on Alexander Usky versus Daniel Dubois, right? And so that's going to be our broadcast. So let's go. Harold, let's jump right into this Terence Bud Crawford news. Bring it.
Well, as you know, Terence Crawford won that fight, and he is running around enjoying the fruits of that win. He was recently on Joe Rogan, which is a serious podcast. It has more followers, more clout in this world than Johnny Carson. Well, not Johnny Carson, whoever it is on late night anymore.
Yeah,
he doesn't need to go on Good Morning America. He doesn't need any of that. The Joe Rogan platform is huge.
Oh my God!
While I was on the Joe Rogan platform, he came up with some pretty good stuff that has got the world kind of shaking around.
Really?
As you know, he said he would never fight Canelo. Now he wants to fight Canelo at 168 if he wins. So he'll fight Canelo at 168 or Charlo at 168. So he's willing to move up to 168. He's going to, 20-something pounds, 147 to 168. He's willing to move up that far to fight the winner. Now he's looking for history. Now he's already in the record books. He's already going down the Hall of Fame, but he wants to be in the air with Sugar Ray Robinson and other folk who actually moved up and became undisputed
Yeah.
at three different weight divisions. So that's his thing right now. So he's been enjoying that situation. Now he was on the Breakfast Club, which was Charlemagne the God, and he was very candid about his winning and what he did and how he went about it and how he was not shook by Earl at all and all of that thing. But yet he's been very respectful the entire time.
Yeah.
So what I get from his movement around in the media and his parades and his tweets and all that is that he's willing to move up to the 168. He necessarily doesn't want to necessarily have a rebound fight with Earl because that's not really needed. We already see that. So he is very popular right now. Just to say, his entire verbal posture has changed. He's running his mouth. He's smiling. He's making jokes. I mean, he is completely out of his situation. That makes me think about, well, when he was with Top Rank, he didn't do any of this. He didn't have any of that.
He didn't.
Either he didn't want to do it, he wasn't coached to do it, he didn't have the wherewithal to do it, or he wasn't prodded to do it, or he just didn't want to do it. I don't know what it is, but right now, he is the darling of the media situation concerning his win.
Wow. So in other words, we're talking about, folks, what Harold just broke was that Terence Crawford is ready. I mean, basically, he's going to make history, right? And he's going to jump up and fight 3 weight classes higher. And I can tell you as a trainer, that is a dangerous move. I mean, going down is one thing. Going up is another thing. And, that opens up the conversation, Harold, to you and to the fans that are listening today, the listeners of the Boxing Breakdown. It opens up the conversation to, can he do it? Can he go up 3 weight classes, make history? And I suppose, look, he's got 2 opponents in his sights, if that's the case, because it could either be Canelo or it could be Jermell Charlo, right?
True.
I mean, we don't know if Canelo, there's a lot of discussion about that, which we'll get into in the next part of our broadcast. But, there's a lot of talk about Canelo Alvarez, degrading. So, his skills degrading. I don't know if it's just, more news, or if that's what's happening. I can't imagine. Canelo strikes me as the kind of fighter, and I'm just going on history, the kind of fighter that's all in or all out. He's either going to be all in, he's going to do his fights, or he's not. He's going to go on vacation, he's going to chill, he's not going to do anything, right? But he doesn't seem like the guy who I see him riding off into the sunset. I can't imagine him allowing his skills to degrade so much that he, I just don't see that. I don't see it as a Manny Pacquiao, Jeff Horn situation,
Well, Mark, about 2 months ago, you was eating his lunch. He's old. He's been fighting forever. He's too old. He's starting to this. He's starting to do that. That's what you were saying. You're saying he may be young in age, but his skills could be eroded because of his time in the ring. So be it.
Yeah. Well, that's the case. I'm okay. All right. So hold on, because you remembered something that I really didn't remember. I remember you. Only people that remember this stuff is you and the listeners. Only people that remember this, right, guys? You and the listeners. The listeners are like, yeah, man, I remember a couple months ago you were talking about Canelo, just what you said. Right? Okay, but here's the thing. My job is to talk about fights. I mean, my job is to talk about fighters. And yes, I'm making a distinction here in this conversation just to clarify that there's a difference between skills dwindling and being too old, right? Which Father Time never loses. Father Time is undefeated, man. So, I mean, the question is when, right? It's not if, it's when. Am
Well,
I
I
right?
agree with you.
Okay.
I agree with you because since that conversation, I noticed that Canelo doesn't use footwork anymore. He gets out of the way by using his body, his head movement, and feints to get away from punches, not get hit,
Right.
all that kind of thing. He no longer uses his legs to get out the way.
Right.
That is true. That's true. That's true. When you told me that long time ago, I was so I started looking. I look at his last fights, and I see that the feet are kind of stationary now, and he uses upper body movement to get away from stuff and to land his work. So he has, in fact, not he's not as mobile as he was before. That's very very true. So I just called you out, but you have bared the correct information. So that's that.
Yeah, I mean, but the other thing, Harold. Okay, and I appreciate you saying that, but it doesn't, right, wrong, good, bad, true, false. It really doesn't matter at the end of the day, right? Everybody's got an opinion. It's boxing, man. Everybody has an opinion about what's going to happen, and whatever, right? I mean, I've been right many, many times, and I've been wrong many, many times, and it really doesn't matter at the end of the day, right or wrong. The fun part is like really trying to figure and crack the code when it comes to what these cats are doing. What are
But
they
I did
doing?
see that. But I did see that. What you said, I did see that. I did
Right.
see that.
Well, I mean, look, guaranteed Terence Crawford doesn't really want to fight Charlo, right? He really wants to fight Canelo. Am I right?
Oh yeah, the payday would be spectacular, and if he does beat him,
Bad
of course
day.
he's in the Hall of Fame anyway.
Bad
Payday.
day. Bad day.
I know you want that, but
Bad
hey, the
day.
thing is, if he gets opportunity, that's where he's going to want to go. Now, I have an idea how that fight would go, but I don't know if we're going to discuss that here. But if that happens, that'd be a huge fight for the world
Yeah.
just because of the situation. So we're hoping Charlo can win. That'd be good. Either way, it's going to be a
Right.
great fight, provided he gets past the rematch because Canelo's going to have a rematch
Right. Well, Terence Crawford's got to
immediate.
make look. Terence Crawford has a lot of ground to cover. So clearly, what we know, folks, is that Terence Crawford will not be seen in the ring till sometime in the new year, probably. I mean,
Yes, he's
that's
enjoying
a
himself.
yeah. He's
That's a fact.
he's probably in the Bahamas or Lord knows where. I know
He's
he's
on
not.
on Joe Rogan. He's on Joe Rogan.
Yeah, he
and
probably in
and the
Bahamas,
Breakfast
went to
Club.
Joe Rogan and just went back to the Bahamas. But where he's not is in Omaha, Nebraska right now. I can tell you that.
No, I wouldn't think so.
I think he's somewhere, much more lush and beautiful than Omaha, Nebraska. No shit, no disrespect to Omaha, Nebraska. We love Omaha, Nebraska, but let's face it, the Bahamas would be a lot more fun, right?
I would
So
think so. Yes.
yeah, so Terence Crawford says that he needs time, right, so he can bulk up before the fight. Is
Yes.
that correct?
Yes. He says he can just be comfortable in his lifestyle. He already eats well and takes care of himself, and he can naturally put that weight on.
Right.
Um, I think his skill set will afford him nicely in the fight with Canelo. He got the skill
Yeah.
set and all that, so uh, I believe he'll win on points.
Yeah, I don't see Canelo coming down to that catch weight that he previously discussed at 158.
Right.
He's not going to do
Right.
that. It's absolutely a 168 fight, right?
68.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was
Yes.
just looking at that, and I just don't see that happening. So, yeah, man. I mean, this is interesting to go up from 147 to 168 pound and then win, man. Can you imagine?
And that's exactly what he was saying. What would they say then if I did that?
Oh my
This is an
gosh!
opportunity for me to do that. Now he's 35. He'll be 36 coming up. Now,
Yeah,
in football and basketball, you got a thing called old man strength.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
And a
I know
lot of
what it
NFL
is.
players get old man strength, and they may have 2 years when they're of older age, and they are just unstoppable. But it
Right.
falls off so abruptly. It's there today and gone tomorrow. Literally, old man strength literally goes away the next hour or the next day or the next month. But while you're in it, it's spectacular. So if he has a streak of old man strength or whatever you want to say, he hasn't
Right.
taken any beatings or whatever, I think he could really work with Canelo some, because he's going to move, and he's going to move, and Canelo's not going to move like that. But
Right.
Canelo's going to be going to be getting to him. It's going to be trying to get to him per Earl. If
Yeah.
he executes the same way he handled Earl coming in like that, he may have a better chance. But Canelo has a little more sophistication in his attack, so that would be an interesting fight.
Well, I don't, I don't, I don't really like it. I don't really like this fight for Bud Crawford. I really don't because, scientifically, a smaller fighter coming up not one weight class, but actually 3 weight classes with a technically skillful fighter and a fighter who has been at that weight class for a very, very long time, even though he tried his hand at going up. I think
175.
Yeah, but he understands that 175, the sauce, the recipe doesn't work for him at 175. He loses something in the recipe at 175. He maintains the recipe if he stays at 168, or even he could probably even fight at 160, like where he was going to fight Gennady Golovkin. I think they were going to fight at 160. I don't remember if they did fight at 160, but if you know, let me know. Hit us in the comments here on Facebook or YouTube, and let us know if Gennady Golovkin and Canelo fought at 160.
They did.
They did. Okay. Well, you just said
and
that,
68.
but yeah, and they fought at 168. Okay, good. Yeah, but anyway, that was the train of thought. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, Canelo's been there. He's played at that weight class. He's fought some of his toughest battles there at that weight class, and Crawford, I get that he wants to make history. I really get that. But for all intent and purposes, you have to look at what scientifically is just a no-no. If you're a trainer, like a trainer manager, you typically don't allow your fighter to go up to a weight class that he's not used to fighting in. He hasn't had at least 2 fights in that weight class. One of the reasons is because you don't know what gets lost until fight night, right? You're not going to know really what gets lost in relationship to how he just fought Errol Spence in his next outing when you have to jump up 3 weight classes. What if there's an error in the training camp, or an error in strength and conditioning, or error in eating, or dietary issues, or it could be a lot of things that could
punch resistance could go down, right?
Right, punch resistance could go down. Well, first of all, hand speed will go down, reflexes will shift. So there's a lot of things that you would want to look at, but I'm sure his trainers are writing the list, the short list and the long list of things that they have to focus on and pay attention to in the camp. If they were going to take that kind of a fight.
Word has it that his trainers didn't even know. They were in the gym working with other fighters, and they heard over the air, like everyone else, that Bud said he wanted to fight Canelo at 168. They didn't even know that that's what he wanted to do, just like anyone else. So even they weren't in on his plans.
But
so,
wait a minute. Doesn't he have to? Doesn't he have to fight? Doesn't Terence Crawford have to fight Errol Spence again? I just remembered that. Doesn't he has to fight Errol Spence one more time? Doesn't he?
If he invokes a rematch clause, but we all know the person who's calling that shot is Al Heyman, so we don't know if Al thinks it's a feasible situation or not. Of course, Earl's going to want it, but you got to look at his longevity, his marketability after this loss in such a manner where he can go, who he can avoid, or who he needs to fight to get himself back, get the luster back. So all that's being considered right now. And going back to Terence Crawford, it was such a one-sided type situation. It's not a good idea, I wouldn't think. And we wanted something at the end of the year here, but it's not going to happen. And I just hope that he doesn't revisit Crawford anytime soon, maybe 2 years down the road, something like that. but not now because it was too much of a beating. I was watching it just before I came on air with you. I was like,
Right.
don't go back there. Don't.
¿Qué pasa con what's going to happen with Benavides? Wasn't he supposed to fight Canelo? Well, who's fighting Benavides now? Is Benavides even fighting?
Well, yes, as you know, Benavides is fighting Boo Boo.
Okay.
Boo Boo Andre. Okay,
That's
now
next.
that is a fight. Yes, that's next for Benavides. So that's been set up. That's coming forward, and that's going to be quite a test for Benavides because Boo Boo is not necessarily a puncher. He drops everybody he fights now.
Yeah.
He drops them. He doesn't finish him for whatever reason. However, it's not a negative thing. He's just a really great boxer. He can really move well. And Benavides is going to have to really try to track him down. Now, Boo Boo's been a champion. Boo Boo's fought some big fights, and this is his biggest fight. So that's an not evenly matched fight, but that's a fight where we're going to have to see if Andre can really stay away and win on points because Benavides is definitely going to try to make a statement with a undefeated champion who was a champion for many years at 160, who moved up to get a hold of Canelo, but now he's got to take a Canelo possible foe to get back in the sweepstakes with Canelo. So this fight is monumental.
Well, listen, Harold, listen. There's a lot that's going to unfold in the new year here, but the next topic that we need to hit here right about now is this discussion on Canelo Alvarez versus Jermell Charlo.
Charlo is Charlo.
Charlo.
Not Charlo. Charlo.
Why are you correcting me?
Because Charlo corrects us all the time when he's on his press conferences.
Charlo.
And Dan Rayfield constantly reminds us all the time it's Charlo, not Charlo. Charlo. He says that constantly.
Charlo.
So
everybody, it's Charlo.
Charlo, yes. Yes.
It's Charlo.
It is. But anyway, what were you going to say? I was just thinking, you saw the press conference. Charlo looked a lot bigger.
Yeah.
But Canelo is wide. He's wide and he's stocky and he's thick. So height doesn't really matter. And height has no problem with Canelo.
Yeah.
With his weight class, within the applicable weight class, height doesn't mean nothing to Canelo. So that's not even it. But for optics purposes and betting purposes and just the public seeing everything, it looks like a good fight because Charlo is bigger. He's towering over him, and what have you. What I don't like is the camaraderie that Charlo is definitely giving to Canelo. This is the mean Charlo. This is the one who talks a lot of crap and just is indignant. Right. But not now. The press conferences, they might as well sing Kumbaya. He's all nice and sweet. I am serious. It hasn't even done anything. At least drag Canelo for not being able to speak English properly. Something. He's doing nothing.
Just give us something, right?
He hasn't. So I don't understand that movement right now. Now, they've done several press conferences, one in LA, right? And they've done one in New York. They've done some press conferences, and they were all tame and nice and sweet. And I'm like, what is going on? That's not even, for me, it's not even you. But it could be the opportunity is so huge, he doesn't want to poke the beast. Or, I don't know.
Listen, man. Canelo has an enormous following. He has such an enormous following. He reminds me to tell everyone, make sure you guys like and subscribe. If you're following us on YouTube, make sure you hit that like and subscribe and the notifications bell, please, so that you know when the podcast is coming. And we really appreciate that. Share the podcast with your friends, right? Follow us on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, Instagram. Well, you can't follow us on Instagram. You have to, whatever you do on Instagram, do that. Anyway, we need you. We need you on all the platforms for sure, so you can follow our content and stay in conversation about what's happening, man. So anyway, here's the thing, Harold. This is not a fair match because as I said to you before, see, Canelo's camp knows what's up, man. Canelo's a 168, just fought at 175. He's going to fight a little smaller. He looks bigger. I got that. But, when all is said and done, you're fighting a guy who's always fighting big guys. He's always the shorter guy, so he always looks like the smaller guy, but he really isn't the smaller guy, as you pointed out. And Charlo is coming up from 154. he's driving up from 154, man. This is not a good look for Charlo. I like saying his name better as Charlo. Actually, it's kind of like
that's correct pronunciation. It's the number. It's the number that he's going to garner. The number, and if he loses, his big brother can say, "Hey, you beat up my little brother. I want my opportunity. Let me make 30 million. You can whoop both of us if if you can, but let's both get the opportunity to fight you." So it's a windfall. It gives him the opportunity. And it is what it is. If he wins, it shakes up the world. Yeah. There'll be a rematch and he'll give it back. But initially, until that rematch is signed, it'll shake up the world. I shook up the world. I shook up the world. Oh. That's what would happen if he happens to win.
So, Canelo Alvarez is 59, 2-2 with 39 big wins coming by way of KO. And Jermell Charlo is 35-1 with 1 loss and 19 big wins coming by way of KO. So, Charlo stepped in the ring with a very, very seasoned fighter, one of the top fighters in the world today, arguably pound for pound, one of the best fighters in the world. Whether he's dwindling or coming to the end of his career is... people can say what they say, and certainly we can kind of put Father Time up against the fighter, but, I've never seen, the only fight that I've seen that Canelo really, the 2 fights that he did not do well in was the one with Mayweather and obviously the one that he just had with
Bivol.
Yeah. Those are the,
With the Mayweather fight, he didn't do badly. He hit his marks. He got where he needed to be. Yeah. He was not compromised. He was just it was a boxing lesson. Okay. Yeah. So Floyd didn't hurt him. He didn't jump to throw him back and nothing like that. He just, when he got in there, he got scored on. Mark, as you know this. Bivol beat him. Yeah,
Bivol had a great game plan. Great game plan.
You lost. There's no doubt about it. You lost. This was not a boxing lesson. No, you lost. You got beat up. He got beat up.
Yeah. Yeah. And before that, he fought Sergey Kovalev, who was very feared in the division, and he smoked him. No one expected that to happen that night, and he smoked him. So, one bad performance, everybody jumps ship. You know how it goes. But, Canelo's definitely got the power. And fighting a smaller guy makes his job a little easier. As far as, statistics are concerned, it doesn't look good for Charlo. But we're going to have to see what happens, right, Harold?
Yeah, but Mark, I have to say this. He lost to 2 slick fighters. They call it, for lack of a better word, slick African-American fighters. Yeah. Bivol fought like a slick African-American fighter. And, Floyd pioneered that. Not pioneered, but he's excellent at that style. He lost both of those fights easily. Both of those guys said that was easy fights. Floyd said, he was easy. Bivol said, he was easy. Okay. So, of course, Charlo's looking at that and the world's looking at that. And we see how Canelo doesn't necessarily fight African-American fighters. He did fight Mosley. But Mosley was on his way out, and he wasn't moving like that anymore. Yeah. So the world wants to see a lot of my boxing friends in and out. However, they know Charlo's going to win just because of the past history he's had with those other 2. But Mark, just like you said, Canelo is not going to be worried about anything like that. I don't know if Charlo has that type of style where he's going to get in and get out and score and get around. I think he likes to stand in there and fight with you. And that is not good with Canelo.
Well, you're right. And And then just to be the naysayer on the other side of that, Canelo, definitely, when we were talking about Canelo and his big fights with Golovkin and Kovalov and all these fights that he had back in the day, that was going back to 2018, 19, back in there, right?
No.
Yeah.
Back, dude.
Yeah. So what we're looking at is we're looking at an aged world champion, and whether or not Father Time has caught up, or Mother Time, whichever you want to call it, is caught up with Canelo, we're going to find out very, very soon,
Punching power goes last to leave, of course.
Right.
But he can still get away from punches. He's doing it so well with his upper body, his head movement, and his feints. He's doing it. He's getting away from punches. He is.
Right.
He's not using his feet, but he's using everything else, and it's effective. That is true.
Where's this fight happening? Do you know where this fight is taking place?
I have to look, but I really don't know. I believe it's Vegas at the T-Mobile Arena. I believe so, but don't quote me on that. Don't quote me on that.
I'm just wondering, if Canelo loses, what the headlines in the New York Times are going to read, right? And then if Charlo loses, what's the headline going to read?
Well, the minute he's excuse me, the minute he steps in the ring, he loses his WBO title.
Right.
WBO said, "Hey, bell rings. You're not our champion anymore." Up until that point, he gets to have all three belts and undisputed versus undisputed, blah blah blah, which is a nice little piece for the public to consume, of course. But what I'm saying is, if he loses, he'll get to come down and defend his two belts, those three belts that remain, because the WBO strip it. They want to give it to Zoo, because Zoo has a huge fan base over there in Australia, and they can start making money with him, and then they can still get them two back together. So it's just I'm not saying money grab, but it's a wise business move to strip him. But he'll still have the three. He'll move back down, and maybe Crawford will fight him. I don't know. We just don't know. Crawford's making 25 to 30 million. He's not going to go back down and make that little money again after he did that. So we have to see how it works out.
Yeah, man. So, all right, Harold, let's jump over to this conversation about. We're gonna break into some quick little firework bursts of news, right? We're going to talk a little bit about Tank Davis. We're going to talk about Alicia Baumgardner, right?
Okay.
Let's jump into Tank Davis.
Floyd Money Mayweather is a promoter. Now he wants to make a fight with Tank and Inoue out of Japan at a catch weight.
Y'all hear that, folks? Did you hear that?
Meaning that, yes, catch weight. So, which means that both of them get to keep their titles. Tank has the WBA title at 135, and Inoue just took Fulton's two titles at what was it? 26. What was that? I forget what it was, but he believes that those two could get together, belts be damned, however you want to say, because the public is going to want to see those two skill sets get together.
Yeah.
No one loses anything. They still keep their belts. They still get to defend their belts. They still get to make a boatload of money, and we can test that Japanese market with the Tank market. Tank does exceptionally well all the time. Now, the problem is Tank made $40 million against Ryan. Tank's don't want to make 10 again, 15 again. He don't even want to make 20 again.
Right now, he's looking for big money now.
Yeah,
big
so
numbers.
Inoue offers that kind of money to him. He does, just because of the market he's in. Now, as far as the fight's concerned, that'd be a very interesting fight. That'd be a really interesting fight, I would think.
No, I think it would be a great fight, and I like the play of trying to go and do a catch weight with Inoue and see how that works out, because there's a lot of fruit there, right? And it's kind of low hanging for Tank. I mean, Tank's a that's a very interesting play. I hadn't heard that.
It is.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that before tonight's broadcast, but that is very interesting to me to see how that
But
would play out.
Tank has another scuttlebutt.
Well, what's that?
He's running around saying, I want to fight Terence Crawford. He wants to go to 47 and fight Terence Crawford. He
Right.
said Terence Crawford had a glass chin, this, that, and the other. And if you look at strictly financials,
Yeah.
if you fight Canelo or Tank, you get paid. Whether you're moving down to fight the smaller man or whether you're fighting Canelo, those two bring the people out, bring the revenue out. Terence Crawford's in a great situation right now. He could actually fight Tank. He can do whatever he wants. He can fight Tank.
Right.
He can fight my mama, or he can fight Canelo. It doesn't matter. He's got it going on where he can command anything. But those two can get the money to him. So that's kind of a pie in the sky kind of a thing with Tank talking about he wants to fight him and this and that and the other.
Right.
And but it's a feasible thing financially. It is.
Right. Well, I mean, there's also some discussion. I mean, I don't want to flip this discussion, but I know that there's been some conversation on the airways about Shakur Stevenson possibly getting a fight with Gervonta Davis. Is there any? What do you think about that matchup?
Well,
possibility.
that's kind of like Floyd and Pacquiao year after year after year. I mean, they don't need each other right now. They don't need. I mean, Shakur needs him, but Tank doesn't need Shakur at all. He doesn't need that. Not that he can't win or nothing like that. It's just that he doesn't have enough cachet to put on the fight. Yeah, we want to see it. Yeah, the purists want to see it, but the world don't want to see it. The world doesn't know who Shakur is. Yeah, he got the girlfriend who's a rapper. Her name is Lyric or whatever. She's very popular.
Yeah.
She's platinum album, this and whatever. He had a baby with her. She's cute and all that kind of stuff. That's great. That helps him, but he needs to have his own thing going on. Now, I have to give it to him. He's at everybody's fight. He's in the ring with everybody. He's walking them out. He's on all the camera. He's appearing. He's doing his thing. He's making sure people know who he is. But he doesn't have the cachet to fight Tank as of yet to help with that box office. He just doesn't have it. He needs to fight somebody else or two so he can show that.
Yeah. So, Harold, I agree with you. We just got a shout out to Mini Mill, X-Can Bots. Cool. Thanks for being with us tonight, man. He's saying, Bud finna knock out Canelo. So, we're back on the Canelo, Bud Crawford. But
hey,
are we going to say anything about that?
Canelo's got a heck of a chin. Canelo has a chin. He's been hit. He's been hit by big men. Clean. He has. Doesn't rock, doesn't move, never been down, never been back, never been knocked back, none of that. So, I'm a Mini Mill. I ain't trying to hate. I'm just saying that man's got a good chin, but anything can go away overnight. But as of now, if he gets hit, that's what it is.
So he's saying how realistic do we think the Bud versus Canelo fight is? I think that's a very realistic fight. I mean, I think it can happen. There's no reason that fight can't happen, and I think. Excuse me, I think Bud Crawford would be chomping at the bit to be able to make that kind of market share and make one of the biggest fights in the history of the sport. Fighting a guy who's arguably one of the best fighters in the world as well. So, yeah, I think that fight can happen. I think, where it happens is another concern. I know that it will be huge, and it'll be like, it'll be like Cinco de Mayo, right? I don't know. That's going to be a big event now.
That'd be a huge fight. I mean, and that is legacy. I mean, that puts you in the competition with the greatest fighters of all time.
Yeah, I'd love to see that.
When you can do 3 weight classes undisputed in the 4-belt era, which happened starting with 84 or something like that.
Right.
That is the craziest thing. If he does that, you have to put him with Sugar Ray Robinson. You have to put him with Rocky Marciano. You have to put him there.
Mini Mill is saying Canelo's Mexican and he looks like he's Irish. So I don't really know. I don't really know what you're trying to say. I don't really know where you're
Well,
going
well,
with that.
he's
What's he
saying
saying?
Canelo is his Mexican, of course. He looks Irish with the red hair, but he fights in that slick black style. That's
Yeah.
what he's saying. That's what he's saying. And he picked up a lot of that slick black style after Floyd. He saw how Floyd got away from him or whatever. And he used some of that movement and the feints and all that. He did
Right.
pick that up.
Right. So, and Mini Mill, yeah, man. I mean, we're gonna get the fight. Eventually that fight will happen unless, again, like if Charlo,
So
if Charlo if Charlo defeats Bud Canelo, right? Then you might not see that fight. You might see Bud versus Charlo.
you'll still see it though, because Canelo will keep his cachet.
You
There's
think they'll
going to
fight
be a rematch.
anyway?
Yes, there's going to be a rematch. He's going to take it. He's going to take it back from
Yeah.
Charlo. He's going to take it back, and then you have more fodder. So yes, it's not capped. The powers that be see the too much money is there.
Right.
I mean, you can look back when Floyd fought Zab Judah. Zab Judah was supposed to beat somebody and fight Floyd. He went and lost. They
Right.
still made the fight.
Yeah.
Zab Judah lost his fight before Floyd, and still they made that fight because the money was there, regardless if he won or lost. That's what happened with Zab Judah and Floyd Mayweather. This can happen with Canelo. If he happens to lose, he still has the cachet to make that big fight with Bud, even if he loses. So yes, it's not capped. The powers that be will say, yes, we got to make this paper right here, and them two guys can do it right now.
Yeah,
so
man.
it will happen.
So, all right. So let's get back to this Shakur Stevenson, because I told you I wanted to discuss him anyway, and actually, guess
no.
what? And you said no. You said like we got these other things we want to talk about, but guess who popped into the conversation right when we started talking about Tank Davis? We talking to Shakur Stevenson is in the conversation, and Harold. Here's the thing: there's a huge debate as to whether or not Shakur he just hasn't fought anybody, or
He's the boogeyman.
Yes, or folks. So a lot of guys are saying, "Oh yeah, but Shakur hasn't fought anybody. He's 20-0. Like he hasn't really done much." And I'm like, is that what we know to be true, or actually could it be that they're afraid to fight him and he can't get a fight? That's the real thing that's happening here. And I think, like, personally, if I'm Gervonta Tank Davis's manager, I'm gonna say, let's take that in a way fight, because guess what? That's a huge market share. That's a huge fan base. Let's go over there and let's win those fans over, kind of like Mike Tyson did. Let's go get Japan. Let's go take Japan. Let's go. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that's my take on it. When you're looking at it purely from a financial point of view, what do you guys think out there listening? Let us know.
Just not Japan. It's the entire Asian market.
Yeah.
Supposedly Chinese and Japanese people are at odds with each other because of whatever traditional thing. But in boxing, Asian fighter from Philippines, China, wherever, they all galvanize behind an Asian fighter. So those lines will be smoothed over. So that's a huge market out there. That's a huge market. And Floyd sees that and he wants to put it in there. So that's something else. But we have heard some small rumors of Shakur fighting Frank in what's the name's camp? Frank
Martin?
he just fought.
Frank Martin?
No, yes. Martin, who works with Bud, who works with he's in the camp with Ryan and Derek James is his trainer.
Anthony Joshua,
He just fought last week. What's his name? Frank. He's undefeated. He's at 135. He's very popular, and there's some light rumors of him fighting Shakur. So that is something, but that's just fun stuff. But as you said, I believe that no one wants to give him the opportunity to make them look bad, because he will make them look bad. You either knock them out or win on points. And if you lose, you get tarnished. However, when Floyd beat people, they still were able to go and make money.
Yeah.
There's no shame in losing to Floyd. Shakur has to have a performance or two where there's no shame in losing to him, where you still are marketable, you still get fights, even though you lost to him because he's such a talent. But the problem is not enough people have seen that quality to say, okay, if you lose to him, you're all good. I'm still going to hire you as a promoter. The network, I still want to put your fights on, even though you lost to Shakur. But that hasn't happened because Shakur hasn't fought enough to get that pass for his future opponents that he's going to beat. Right. That's the whole issue.
Yeah. No, man, I don't really know. I like to see Shakur get moved and get put into some big fights where he's really tested, so that he can develop that. I mean, he certainly got the skill, man. He is the boogeyman, and if you're real out there, you need to step up and take the fight with him, and see what happens. Let's see what Shakur can do. I mean, I'd love to see Shakur and Tank. I'd love to see them square off, man. That would be exciting. Boxing.
Shakur beats them all. Shakur beats them all. He beats them all.
Yeah, I mean,
in my opinion, he beats them all. All of them.
You've been saying that since day one, Harold. You've been saying that since day one, bro.
All, man.
You're like I think who wins, who beats them all?
Who?
Mike Tyson. Is he still fighting? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding, folks. Listen, I know Mike Tyson isn't fighting. I wish he was fighting because that's my guy right there. Mike Tyson. All right, so Harold, pushing right along, let's jump into this female boxer, Alicia Baumgradner, tests positive right before that July fight she had. What's up with that?
Yes. Well, I want to say, first of all the gentlemen out there, I've seen her in the flesh a couple of times at the conventions or whatever you want to say. And as far as a lady's concerned, she's quite attractive. She's attractive. However, what outweighs that is the way she fights, the way she moves, the way she trains. You forget that she's a nice looking lady. You look at how well she fights, how she moves, and how she pivots. She's excellent fighter. So to me, that's more. I like that more than her outward appearance. Now, she tested negative before her fight, and then she tested after, and it was not, and it was clean. But then it was a month later. Another body who tested her said that she had 2 substances in her blood. Okay, she's since gone on record, said I don't take that kind of stuff, this, that, and the other. Okay, I'm not going to say who's right or who's wrong. I just know that in the world of drug testing, and Mark, you can back me up on this, you have to be able to stay ahead of the test. If you can stay ahead of the test, you can take whatever supplements you think, whether they're legal or illegal, if you stay ahead of the test, which means that you can take certain stuff that the test does not see and you can get away with it. Now, this is not something that I'm saying that's true or not true. This is what I've heard and what I've been told and all this kind of thing. It's just a situation where the test gets updated, but until it's updated, until it's looking for new substances, you have opportunity for those substances that you're taking that are not on the ban list yet to still be there. So I'm not saying that's what she did or nothing like that. Now, I believe it could be the contamination just because it was a urine sample. A urine sample, it has to be in a certain situation. It took weeks for them to put it together, this, that, and the other. I don't know the particulars. I'm not even going to speak on it. I just know that she was positive. She was negative before the fight. She was negative after the fight. And this was something that was put together later on that maybe those 2 tests didn't see, or there was a contamination situation, or the beaker that it was in already had something in it, or there's so many different things that can happen. So we have to see what's going to happen. But I always give people the benefit of the doubt. And people say, well, she's all big and she's big. I've seen pictures of her at 8 years old. She had guns. Her body was on point then.
No
and
doubt.
She's 8. So.
Well, I mean, look. The thing is the undisputed junior lightweight champion Alicia Baumgradner did test positive for 2 banned substances during a voluntary anti-doping test leading into her July 15th fight against Christopher Linardell. Her promoter Matchroom Boxing announced, and that was back in, I guess it was back in July that happened. So, this is something though. I mean, this is the fact that even comes into question, I like, I don't know. It just tarnishes an amazing athlete, someone who's really worked her way up to achieve some really monumental victories over quality opponents. And I don't know, man. It just upsets me, because I hope that's not the case, and I hope she gets to become. I just hope she's cleared. Her name's cleared from that.
Yes, it's always going to come up in any kind of narrative on her. It's going to come up. I'm just hoping that it's a blanket, clear understanding of what happened, whether it was positive or negative. It needs to be decisive. She did take it, and she apologized. She got stripped or whatever. She made her way back to the top, or she didn't take it and she keeps to keep her belts. Either way it goes, it needs to be decisive. It can't be, maybe this, maybe that, maybe this, maybe that. As we saw, Conor Ben was recently cleared.
Yeah.
And he went through a whole lot on his drug test and, this and that and the other. And, we've heard so many different things. We heard one woman said she slept with a guy and he had it, so she popped.
Well, so
then we had eggs, right? Somebody ate some eggs and they popped. And then, so you see so many, the dog, all kind of crazy stuff. So we just don't know. All I can say is about her is she has not used an excuse.
No. And her promoter came out and said that she tested positive. She doesn't know how that happened. And basically, I guess it was Mester Olone, and
there was two pieces
methanolan acetate metabolites.
One's to bring up testosterone for sure. One is a testosterone booster.
Yeah. So I can't pronounce those two things very well, but y'all will forgive me for that pronunciation of those two. I just don't have a lot of experience with any kind of foreign substances going into any of my athletes' bodies. We just, fighters got to fight clean, man. And there shouldn't be anything in there like that, I don't know. I don't know what to say except that she's on a tear, bro. She's just destroying her division and doing a great job. And really, I just don't know too much to say about that. It's just unfortunate. I'm interested to see what her former opponent had to say about that, though.
They want the fight is they want the fight to be rescinded.
Yeah, you mean the Michaela Meyer fight?
No. This last fight.
Oh yeah. Okay.
They want to rescind that fight.
Yeah.
They want to do it again. This, that, and the other. So there's a lot of stuff flying around. But in boxing, some of the funniest type of demands and requirements happen after fights because there's no governing body, if you will. So people say some of the interesting stuff, concerning certain situations. But that's what they want to do. They want to redo that fight.
Right. Man. Anyway. Come on, Alicia Baumgardner. Let's get this thing straight so you can continue being like the.
Well, she's in litigation right now. She got her lawyer. She can't say nothing. She got her lawyers looking at everything, and they're going to do their very best to get it going.
Yeah, I hope so because I don't like to hear that kind of stuff. And Alicia Baumgardner is promoted by Marshall Kaufman, King's Promotion. So shout out King's Promotion, Marshall. I know that's not what you want to hear either. And I guess maybe the promoter is actually Matchroom. I guess maybe you're not the promoter, but whatever. Maybe you're a co-promoter. I don't really know. I don't follow it like that. But whatever it is, I know Marshall is very, very closely tied to Alicia Baumgardner. Alicia Baumgardner is a great fighter. Clear your name and get on with your career. Let's go.
Yes.
That's all I got to say, man.
Hey, Minnie Mills, all in us tonight. Thank you,
Yeah,
sir.
Mini Mills, Mini Mills is in us, bro. Yeah, we're gonna jump into the Usyk versus Dubois in just a second,
Okay.
but let's see what Mini Mills is all talking about here today. Let's see what he says now. He says Canelo, after the Floyd loss, started to fight and incorporate the black slick boxing head movement style of fighting. And even his promoter, I guess, Chepo, admits that the black slick boxing style is the hardest boxing style to beat.
That's basically what I tried to say. Thank you, sir, for backing that up. But yeah, that is the case. So we're looking to see if Charlo rather can incorporate that. But I just think he's more of a warrior, and he's not going to keep that style. He's not gonna do that. He's an aggressive fighter, and
Yes.
he's a self-proclaimed knockout fighter, and he's gonna go in there. He's gonna stand in that pocket. He's just
Yeah.
not gonna move the whole fight and just try to. He's not. That's just
No.
not what he does.
No.
If he does, that is severe discipline that must be applauded. If he can go against his nature to win that fight. But he's already going against his nature with the press conference by not even being himself. So who
Right.
knows what kind of mental, wherewithal that he has.
Who knows? What time will tell, I can tell you that. So let's jump into the next topic, Harold. Let's
Usyk.
do it. Let's do it, man. Let's get into this. This is Alexander Usyk and
And Dubois.
Dubois. Let's
Well,
go. What you got?
Usyk is defending his 3 belts.
Yeah.
And Mark, do you realize how many heavyweight fights he's had? Very few. He's
Usyk,
only
yeah.
had.
No, he slides up, goes back down to,
But he's only had how many heavyweight fights? Legitimate heavyweight fights has he had? What, 3? That's it. That's it. 3 actual heavyweight fights, and he's
Yeah.
champion. Now, situation is, our boy, he's a great big guy, and
Yeah.
he is actually going to believe that if he could just connect, that he'll put Usyk down, and he'll be the champion. He'll shake up the world. That's what he's thinking. However, I just don't see him being able to even get around the ring with Usyk. Usyk moves so well, angles so well, and he doesn't necessarily have to be aggressive to really score on you and get out the way. I mean,
Right.
it's going to be like a bumblebee stinging a bear, man. I mean, the bear doesn't have a chance. He's just swinging at nothing. That's how I see it, because I've seen the boy fight
Right.
quite a few times, and he's got power, and he's very clean. He does things well, but his footwork is going to be suspect.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Usyk fights like a, I don't know, lightweight. I mean, he's really just a fast, super, super skillful fighter. We don't see enough of him, but he's really,
We don't.
he's fantastic. And I think that's
He
on
is.
purpose. He's super skillful, man. I know that he was involved in the war, right, in the Ukraine, and I know that took him out of his game for a while.
Yeah, he killed some people on the front line. No, that was Lomachenko.
I think
Lomachenko actually was in battle, and he was able to vanquish some of the enemy. He killed some soldiers.
right.
He was in battle, and he had some kills. Lomachenko did,
Really?
but that's another subject.
Well, no, that is the subject. That's
We're
amazing.
talking about Lomachenko, not Usyk. Usyk didn't go to the front lines. Usyk didn't, go out there and on an offensive against the enemy and have to
Right.
engage with them. Usyk didn't do that. Lomachenko
Okay.
did.
All right. Well,
But
Lomachenko's
Usyk does have the weight of his country on him. So he is going to, he wants to continue to be that stalwart of success for his country. So he's got that going for him too.
right. He's basically like 20-0 now, right? Something like that. I think his record is something like 20-0.
and he
Oh
needs
no.
this fight because he hasn't been able to do anything. He was sitting around waiting for Fury, and he just got stagnant. So we've got to see if the ring rustles or anything. But I think he got an opponent who has slower foot where he won't have the issue.
Really?
Yeah, you shouldn't have an issue. But that fight is all this weekend, man. We got fights all day Saturday. Boxing fans, get up in the morning. You got all day ESPN. You got
Oh
the
boy.
Zone, and you've got Showtime. You got all three platforms hot. And then if you got like that, there's so many other streaming services that have these other fights. So it's hot, hot, hot all day long.
Oh yeah.
And it's a slow week in boxing. People are saying.
Well, I mean, it's just been hot and heavy since January, man. We've been going nonstop since January, you know? We really have. So
So
I'm just trying to
on,
find.
on
Yeah.
our agenda, we had spoke about those two fights. Now, I will say this about Usyk. Um, I'm really hoping that he gets a knockout. I would love to see that because then that forces the public to say, well, hey, he knocked out this bigger man, and maybe they can force Fury. Now, Fury, as you know, is going to dipping
Yeah.
his toe in the other thing, and he's not going to be stripped by the WBC and all of that. So he
Right.
does whatever he wants. I feel like he's retired.
Yeah.
I don't think he's
Well,
going to fight. He's going to do boxing anymore. I don't believe so.
yeah. Well, the date is set for August 26th. The much anticipated unified heavyweight title showdown between Alexander Usyk and Daniel Dubois will be shown live on ESPN, and I guess it's streaming. I guess the fight is in Wrocław, Poland, and that it begins at like 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah.
So some sort of special broadcast. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, I mean, Usyk is gearing up to protect his WBA, WBO, and IBF world titles against WBA mandatory contender Daniel Dubois. And the showdown is slated for Saturday, August 26th. Under the right lights at Tarsinski Arena in Wrocław. So yeah, man, it's going to happen in Poland, man. I didn't realize that that's where the fight was going down. All right.
Yep. And Joe Joyce beat Daniel.
Oh
Broke
yeah.
his eye socket, all that, but he still gets to fight. And he gets to fight because he's the mandatory, which is hard to get in the mandatory position, but he
Right.
did get that. Good for him.
He's there.
So
He's there. It's his shot.
it's his shot. So that's great. And that's one of the things about sanctioned bodies that's good. A lot of things are good, a lot of things are different. I'm not gonna say bad, I say different.
Right.
But this is one thing where being a mandatory with that sanctioned body is excellent. It's good for the sanctioned body, it's good for boxing fans, it's good for Daniel, it's good for Usyk. And
Yeah.
you get to see such a talent again. So we haven't seen him in a minute.
This fight, Harold, is happening in basically during the Ukrainian Independence Day weekend. So that's going to really enhance the fight. That's going to make it even a bigger draw than it would normally be because it's happening on that weekend.
They're at war, this,
Yeah.
that, and the other. I mean, they can escape what's going on by focus on the fight. All like Joe Louis, when he was fighting, he was in the middle of the war. When he fought, the whole world was just to get away from everything, America, to get away, but they would watch the fight just because they knew what was going on. They had to get up that morning and go make tanks or whatever, but they got a chance to escape. And, that country's in war right now. So, it's an opportunity to escape and see their countrymen victorious. So, like you said, it means so much to them. It really does.
Right. Well, I mean, Dubois is a power puncher, man. He's gonna come out and he's gonna throw his hands. He's gonna fight hard, but I don't know. The former cruiserweight, now heavyweight. He's fighting in all these divisions. He's the real deal, man. He's got hand speed, he's got foot speed, and he's big. So it's going to be an interesting fight, and I cannot wait. And hopefully you'll all tune into that fight, ladies and gentlemen. Do not forget to tune into that fight this weekend. It's going to be a great fight. It really will be. And what else? What else do we got before it's time to say goodbye, Mr. Harold Hunt?
Well, I'm looking at the list there, and it has escaped my eyes.
Yeah,
Our list
I'll
has
pull it up,
escaped our
brother.
eyes.
I'll pull it up. There it is, man. We kind of hit everything that we needed to hit. The only thing we didn't talk about is what's coming up. Some of the big fights that are coming up, right? So, I don't really see too many big fights other than the Canelo fight in September. I think it's September 30th. That's a pretty big fight.
Yeah, we're off for a minute. Yes, we are.
Yeah. I mean, you've got like Lopez versus Gonzalez on ESPN September 15th at 10:30 p.m. Pedraza and Cardenas is going to fight on Showtime September 15th. And really, I mean, Collazo's up again versus Diagon on the Zone on the 26th at 8 p.m. That'll be an interesting fight. I mean, I always love Collazo. Yeah, man. I mean, there's a lot of fights, but stay tuned to the next episode of the Boxing Breakdown. And please, folks, do not forget to like and subscribe, hit the notifications, find us on Instagram and Facebook.
Please do.
Yeah, man, we're there. We're having discussions over there about boxing all the time. So jump on over there and be part of those discussions. And thank you for being with us tonight on the Boxing Breakdown. And Harold, as always, man, thank you for dedicating your time and sharing your insight and all the latest and greatest going on in our beautiful sport of boxing. And ladies and gentlemen, until the next time, peace and love. We'll see you on the next episode of the Boxing Breakdown. We are out.
Fight fans, join host Mark Roxy and special guests as they break down all aspects of the boxing world, including news, business, management, training, promotions, fan reactions, upcoming events, matchups, future boxing stars, title fights, state of the boxing world, and all the stuff you don't see when you watch boxing. This podcast is released each week on Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Live streamed on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook Live. It's the Boxing Breakdown, hosted by Mark Roxy.
Peace and love.